Hey folks, how you doing? Welcome back. Um, Gesundheit. It is Tuesday, the 4th of November, 2025. Being that it's the 4th of November, it is also the anniversary of the assassination of Prime Minister Yitzhak Rabin. So we remember him here in Israel on this day, as people do remember him, of course, around the world, but certainly here in Israel. On top of that, we have this ceasefire going on, which is kind of a joke at this point. But every day they break it, and we have to shoot back, and then we re-implement it. And every day they say they can't find any more of the bodies, and then yet miraculously, when they face more pressure, somehow they find more bodies of the hostages. Yesterday they confirmed the identification also with the Israel Forensics Institute of 3 more of the victims of the October 7th attack. 3 soldiers who were, I believe all 3 of them were soldiers, yeah. 3 Israeli soldiers who had been killed. And, well, we still have a number of hostages we are waiting for their bodies to be returned to Israel. And more importantly, not more importantly, but as well, it is more important for the overall state of Israel. It may not be more important, obviously, for the families and the loved ones. I understand that. That is the most important thing for them. And frankly, for all of us, it is important that all the hostages be returned. But, including all the dead ones, right? But from the national security standpoint, the most important thing right now is actually getting Hamas to surrender their weapons, right? Until they do that, we have a situation. And that situation must be handled. Because we can't just keep having these people attack us over and over and over again, starting wars over and over and over again. How many times do you think we can destroy 70% of Gaza in a row until there's nothing left of it? We can still destroy all of it, no problem, even if they rebuild it all. But we don't want to. We'd rather live in peace, thank you, like any normal person would. Unfortunately, we're not dealing with normal people here. Hamas are not normal. All their terrorist friends are not normal. All their terrorist enemies, by the way, that they are definitely enemies with, they're also not normal. And guess what? A lot of people in Gaza are not normal. And yeah, you want to tell me, yeah, but most of them hate Hamas. You don't know that. And you say most of them love Hamas. You also don't know that. There is no way to know what most of the people, let alone all of the people there, know. Okay. You want to presume that there are innocent people there? I grant you that because I know for a fact there are some innocent people there because I know them. And they are innocent. And they don't have anything to do with this. They never have and they never will. But that doesn't mean that a large number of people there are not supportive of this. Because if they were, I point you again to the fact that there has been a $5 million bounty available to anyone who would lead the IDF, would give the IDF information that would lead to, right, finding a hostage alive or dead. Just information. You don't have to bring them to the place. You don't have to tell them exactly where it is. Just give them a lead, a verifiable lead. That's all they got to do. And they literally get not only a sick reward, but also a new identity and housing wherever the hell they want in the world. Like literally a new life. And just so you're clear, $5 million for the average Palestinian is massive. Okay. By the way, it's pretty massive for anyone on the planet, for 99% of people. You know, most people don't have that kind of money. So, and again, not a single person has taken them up on it, including the people who certainly know where the hell it is. How do I know that there are people who certainly know? Well, first of all, there are obviously people in Hamas who know. They haven't turned them in. Not a single one. Like, if a Hamas guy had told the IDF, hey, I'm in Hamas, but I want out, I'll give you info on where to find the hostage or multiple hostages and help me get the hell out of here and keep me alive and safe, Israel would literally do everything in its power to make that happen. Because, first of all, there's a bounty for anyone to give them that information, let alone an actual Hamas operator. Right? Second of all, if we could actually get an actual operative to give us that information, that would be huge. Because then you'd be also taking out an operative from the field. Since obviously he would not be able to remain in the ranks, most probably, after that point. Because the risk would be too high that anyone would find out. And also, if he does remain in the ranks after telling the IDF where to find hostages, well, he would very likely meet an untimely end, either at the hand of Hamas or at the hand of IDF in combat. So, yeah, that didn't work. Right? But we do have this bounty still out there. Not a single person that lives nearby any of the hostages' bodies now, presumed. Not a single person has told the IDF where they can find any of the bodies. They've had more than 2 years to open their mouths. And we know there are people who live in those areas because there are people who literally live in the areas where they've been, taking the bodies out of storages from. So it's not like they're all in like remote places that are hard to find and that the average person in Gaza living in that area doesn't know where they are. They know exactly where they are. They know exactly where they are. They're not helping to find them because they're siding with Hamas. Okay? So you can tell me all you want. Like, yes, not every person is guilty, but there's a lot of people who are not so innocent there. Just saying, I'm calling it like it is. And you don't have to like it. It's not a pretty thing. It's quite ugly. But it's a fact. Right? We got a situation where there's literally an entire country that's just been at war for 2 years with another little piece of territory that is holding on to dead bodies that they murdered on or after the results of their attacks of October 7th. They've yet to surrender, which any normal thinking organization would do after getting their asses literally whooped into nothingness. Because they refuse to admit defeat because they have that boastful Arabic pride bullshit where they are way too boastful, way too prideful. They think way too highly of themselves. Oh, we're the greatest, we're the winners, we're always the champions. Well, if you're always the champions, where's your victory, lads? Where's your freaking victory? Because from what I can see, got your asses handed to you by the IDF. And if you're not willing to face that, if you're not willing to admit it, it's only going to lead to more devastation for you and your people. And the fact that you keep refusing to do it, although they have a nice day, keep on smiling. Thank you, thank you. Hi, hi. The fact that you keep on refusing to do it kind of tells me everything that we need to know about your mentality as an organization and as a people that support that organization. Right? By the way, what is interesting, I'll just tell you anecdotally again. I've been doing these conversations on sites like Omi or Omegle or whatever. And it is very interesting and very telling that the further you get from this location, the further you get from Israel, the more you and speak with people who are, anti-Israel, for lack of a better phrase, the more virulent they are. Virulently against Israel. Those who actually live closer to here, including the Palestinians I speak to, most often that are usually in the West Bank, are actually usually more amenable to the idea of peace with Israel. And they don't blame Israel for everything like people do around the world. But that said, because you'd think, well, that goes against what you said earlier about most Palestinians. I didn't say most Palestinians support Hamas. I said we don't know. We have no good data. Right? The best data we have is the elections in 2006 in Gaza and the parliamentary elections in the West Bank, where Hamas has a large number of seats. They don't have the majority, but they have a large number. So when anybody ever tells you, oh, there's no Hamas in the West Bank, yeah, they're wrong. They don't know what they're talking about, like literally. So, yeah, it's interesting that here in Israel, in like the West Bank, people who talk with me on those kind of sites, and the Palestinian ones are usually the ones who are actually quite agreeable. And like they wish us peace, we wish them peace. They're not pro Hamas, and they would like to see peace with Israel. But it's the people who support them, both here and abroad, that are causing those problems. And the problem is, there are still a lot of people supporting them. Like a lot. Not a small number. No. There's still a significant number of people. Unfortunately, too many who are supporting Hamas and the things they did on October 7th. And by the way, they always fail to mention all the other groups. PIJ was also a big part of that. There were other groups who also participated in that. If you don't know, you should really look it up. I mean, I mentioned them time and time again here. And also, fun fact, at least half, if not the majority of people who crossed the border on October 7th, as you should know this, because I've told you this many times, but at least half the people, if not more, of the people who crossed over into Israel to do those attacks, including the people who kidnapped the Bibas family members, they were all civilians in Gaza. They weren't members of Hamas. They weren't members of PIJ. They weren't members of DFLP. They weren't members of Al-Qaeda in Gaza. They weren't members of ISIS in Gaza. None of that. No. They were just citizens, civilians, whatever you want to call them, who went into Israel to do as much damage as possible because they wanted to participate in jihad for their incentives both here on earth and in the afterlife. I Everybody knows those afterlife incentives. They get those 72 Virginians, old angry Virginians who always loved Israel. We're going to whip their asses with a hickory stick forever. That's what they're looking forward to. They think it's virgins, but it's not. It's old angry Virginians. That might be a joke, allegedly. But they want those. They want that glory afterlife. But in the current life, they literally thought, they would get free apartments because that's what Hamas promised them. So, yeah, go to Israel, slaughter some Jews. For every Jew you bring back to Gaza, you get a free apartment and a bunch of money. Go get your free apartment now, you assholes. That's the technical term. You don't like it, I have to tell you. Don't really care. What's your take on the food stamp issue? My take on the food stamp issue is it's crap. Right? People should not have to be struggling for food. America has more than enough money to pay for the food stamps. It's not even like they literally have money in reserve for this allocation. Why aren't they using it? If they're not going to figure out the stupid government shutdown thing, which is just a matter of politics, yeah. You know, how many cartoons have I had to draw about this over the years? Because like clockwork, every year, the donkey and the elephant get in bed. They do what they got to do, and they're like, "See you again next January. See you again next June. See you again next whenever the next time's going to be." It's always the same thing. It's going to be the same thing this time too. It will always be who blinks first, and then one side does, and then they compromise. Right? That's how politics goes. So the question is not what do I think of the food stamp issue. The question is what do I think about the overall system that allows this kind of bullshit to go on. I think overall, it's a system that needs to be repaired in many ways. And that is one of the very clear and easy things to fix. I'm sorry, but $5 or $6 billion, and you're going to let that be a problem for a country as large as America? What? That doesn't even make sense. It definitely doesn't make dollars. That's crazy. People should not be going hungry in America in 2025. Sorry, just no. And I don't care if you're homeless or undocumented or anything. If you're in America, you should not be going hungry. The country has so much food. Congress literally pays farmers not to grow corn and other products because there's so much abundance. There's literally so much abundance with the existing food that they grow in silos. They could actually distribute it around the world properly, and nobody would have that issue, right? Of lack of those supplies. But no, they don't do that because money. Right? Not because it costs the money to do it, but because there's not enough profit in them for it. They'd still make a profit, but not enough. It's disgusting. It's like literally logistical resource management issue. It's disgusting. That's what I think about it. And I think it's a national security issue. You can't let people starve in your country. There's something like 30 or 40 million Americans who depend on those things, on food stamps, on SNAP, whatever. Now they can't get any. What are they supposed to do? What are they supposed to eat? You make enough people hungry and angry, you're going to have problems. Heads will literally roll. Could be a plan to buy farmland. Come on, that's ridiculous. It's a political issue, and they always use this as a stick. Always. Food is expensive. Of course, food is expensive. Yeah, but cost of living is also very different in Estonia, Finland, and Sweden. Okay, your salaries are different. Your taxing is different. Everything's different. No one has ever landed on the moon. Okay, great. Good for you. Wonderful. Yes, people have landed on the moon. If you're a conspiracy theorist about the moon, you're in the wrong place, man. I'm here talking about what's going on in the Middle East. You asked me a question about food stamps. You, meaning audience, I answered you. Hungry equals angry. Yes, hungry does equal angry. And by the way, the same thing goes for people in Gaza. Hungry people there get angry too. And the same thing for people here in Israel. Anywhere people are hungry, they're going to be angry. They're going to be weak and they're angry. And they're going to do things that they're probably going to regret, but they didn't have a choice. They're gonna feel like they didn't have a choice. So that's gonna do it for now. I'll talk to you guys later. Peace.